Why you can't nationalize American elections? Let me be very clear, because clarity matters in a democracy. Donald Trump is dead wrong when he talks about nationalizing American elections. Not just politically wrong, but constitutionally wrong. And there's a reason why it sits plainly in the text of the Constitution itself. In the United States, elections are not run by the president. They've never been run by the president. They were intentionally designed not to be run by the president. Let's start with the 10th Amendment. One of the most understood and yet one of the most powerful guardrails of American democracy. The 10th Amendment says this. It says, any power not delegated to the federal government nor prohibited to the states is reserved to the states or the people. Elections are not delegated to the executive branch. They are not delegated to the president. They are not delegated to the White House, which means by constitutional design, they belong to the states. Now let's unpack this a little more, because the Constitution doesn't just imply this, it states it explicitly. Article 1, Section 4, known as the Elections Clause, it says this: the times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations, except as to the places of choosing senators. You notice what's missing? The president is nowhere in that sentence. States run the elections. Congress can regulate elections, but the executive branch has zero authority to take them over. That is not an oversight. That is a deliberate choice made by the framers. They feared centralized power. They feared tyranny. And they especially feared a single executive controlling the machinery of elections. Because when the same person who seeks power also controls the vote, what happens? Democracy dies. That's why election administration is decentralized. That's why there is no national election system. That's why there are 50 states, thousands of local election officials, and multiple layers of accountability. So when Donald Trump talks about nationalizing elections, what he is really proposing is, whether he understands it or not, is a constitutional impossibility. To do what he suggests would require a few things: rewriting Article 1, overriding the 10th Amendment, and stripping states of a power they have held since the founding of this republic. That is not law and order. That is not constitutional authority. That is authoritarian fantasy. And here's the most important part. You don't defend democracy by concentrating power. You defend democracy by dispersing it. The Constitution doesn't trust presidents with elections. It basically says it. It trusts the people, the states, and the law. That's not a bug in the system. That is the system. And anyone who tells you otherwise they're not arguing about election security. They're arguing against the Constitution itself. Love somebody, but more importantly, love yourself. Think while it's still legal. And remember, what they'll do to the least of us, they'll do to the rest of us. Peace. The Max Clark Show.